All right, guys, recording has started. So, that question was, what's the first thing that we do whenever we open up the charts? And the dark arrow is a good answer, but actually, there's another step. It's like, indeed, it's the news. So, there are multiple ways how you can check the news. The way that I prefer to do it is just by using the scanner itself. It's super easy. Am I still live? Oh my God. I thought I closed off the call. That's so funny. So the first thing we do is check the news. Am I sharing my screen? Share. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, perfect, perfect. So I use the scanner itself because it's the easiest way. And in the right corner above, you can see you literally see news, economic calendar. You just press on it, and then you press on these buttons over here. You can uncheck medium and low. Some people like to check medium as well because medium can have a little impact on the charts. But personally, I only check the high impact news. I know Jens also checks the medium news just to have an idea of what's going on in the markets. But if you uncheck it, you press apply, and then you see that today we have a bit of news coming. We have GBP news in 9 minutes. It's probably at 8, so almost 10 minutes. So what does that mean? Can anyone drop in the chat what it means when you have a GBP news coming in 10 minutes? Don't trade, we don't enter GBP related trades. Indeed, indeed. So for how long are we not trading when we see the news? Indeed, we do 1 hour. Now, um, whenever there's news, and you always look at because this is a recording session, I want to mention this. Whenever there's a news event, you always look at the currency of the news event, and all pairs that are correlating with this currency, with the currency that has news on it, has, oh my God, which has high impact news on it, we just stay off this pair for at least 1 hour. Some people like to wait for 20 minutes before and 20 minutes after the news. But if we have any trade, any dark arrow that's valid during the news, it's not valid at all because it's the news that's pushing the price in a certain direction, which makes the algorithm of SciFi think that we're going up or down, but actually it's just news and institutions pushing the price. So it's not a valid play whenever that happens. Good question, Bram. I don't really, uh, if I'm close if I just got a trade on GBP or on Euro, if an arrow pops during the news, then I might double check. But basically, GBP is only GBP news because yeah, GBP is literally another continent. But it's je weet het hè? Een eilandje. No? Het is buiten Europa. Anyway, GBP and Euro are different. All right, next step. Probably all of you guys know it by now. It's dark shade arrow, just like we see here. So I'm gonna do this, check the news. I just called England, another continent, on a live stream call that's being recorded. So I'm probably gonna get some things thrown at me because that's amazing. Should have went to school for a longer time. Now, dark shade arrow. Yeah, dark shade arrow is the first step. The second step was the What's the third or second step? Anyone knows? Do a pullback. Do a pullback. And a M or W. Now, we have something interesting here on USD CHF. Can anyone tell me if you think this play is valid, you can drop a 1. If you think it is not valid, drop a 2 in the chat. 1.5. It either is or it either isn't. Now, this one clearly isn't. Now, the biggest reason for this is because we don't have a 2-day pullback. We do have a nice W over here, which is tempting. But as we've seen before, is when we only have, this is literally how many hours? 18 hours of pullback. Now, most of the time what we see within 18 hours of pullback is that price just tends to do this. Eat. And then later we will look for another W. All right. Now, next pair, USD JPY. Same thing, right? We have a pullback, but it's only for just over a day. We do have a W, even though it's not the cleanest W, but we don't have enough pips and enough days of pullback. I think, how many pips are these? It's only 120 pips, especially with JPY pairs. You really want to wait for 250 pips until you take the trade. So again, we wait for another day of pullback. It's probably going to be right here. Then a nice W. Euro NZD. Just a light shade. GBP USD. We have a dark shade arrow. Now, guys, is this one valid? Are we taking this trade? It does seem great, right? But some of you guys are paying attention. We do have the news in 4 minutes. And it is indeed a valid play without the news. Now, maybe it would be nice that at 8 o'clock we can see what the news does to GBP pairs. I'm not taking it because of the news, because it can be volatile. But we have the 1-day pullback, 2-day pullback. We have a M. Now, imagine there wouldn't be any news right now. Then you would do this, the following. You take your short position because we're going for a move down, because we have arrow down. You place your entry on the closing of the candle with the arrow. You put your stop loss just below, just above the high, which is 22.5 pips right now, which is a pretty decent stop loss. At a 1-in-1 risk reward, you go break even. The 1-in-2 risk reward, we take the full take profit. It's a nice trade, but we're gonna wait 3 minutes for news to see what to happen. I also, can you guys still hear me? Because it says my internet is unstable. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Where was I? Yeah. So also just before and after the news, it's a good idea to just wait a little to trade. What I see happen a lot of times with sci-fi is that news pushes the price up above the stop loss. Oh, like this. And then it makes an M again. And a lot of times you get a new arrow over here. Uh, do I have something nice? Okay, voilà. This is my arrow. And a lot of times you get a new arrow over here. So what I recommend you guys to do is to not rush it. I can't recommend anything, but what I would do is I wouldn't rush in any trade, even if we're still in the stop loss zone. What I would do is just wait for a new arrow to appear. I don't know how many time we have left, but it's almost 8 o'clock. So we're gonna see what's about to happen. Does anyone have any questions until now? I really want to wait until 8 to see what happens to the price. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. All clear. Yeah, apologies for the lag. 1 hour setup looks clean. Is it also on GBP USD prop? As you can see, price is moving a little bit, but it's not 8 yet. Sometimes it doesn't do anything at all, right? 8 o'clock. Yeah, so that's what news can do. And this is a perfect example, guys. You guys saw an arrow appear on the chart. Now it's already gone. The arrow that would have appeared is not valid at all because you saw the price going down really fast. And what we saw first is the following. Is we saw price going here, like in an instant, and then going down. Now, what would have happened if you were in this trade? Now, were some people in this trade or not? You can be honest. You can drop a one if you were. I won't be mad. Nope. Okay, cool. People are learning. That's amazing. Like 1 year ago, I would definitely take this trade. I would not have listened. But anyway, what we saw is we saw a big move up, like in 1 second, and our stop loss was almost hit. Now, what I can be pretty much sure of is that if you were in this trade, your stop loss would have been hit by spread, because when news happens, even if you're not to your stop loss, sometimes your broker just throws you out because of the spread. Because there's so much volume coming into the market, your stop loss gets triggered before you're even at your stop loss, and then you lose your trade without even having to lose your trade. That's another reason why you don't want to be in a trade during news. I had the price once come up to 50% of my stop loss during news, and I was taken out by my broker, which is something that's not really nice, to be honest, especially when you see the trade going in the right direction. All right. Now, next pair, NZD USD, is a light shade, NZD CAD, light shade. Now, we did have an M over here, but we didn't have a 2-day pullback. And as you guys can see, 1-day pullback, M, and stop loss gets hit. Because this is a valid trade. Not a valid trade. 1-day pullback means no trade. Amazing. Going on to the 1 hour, and then I'm going to give the word to Jens. GBP USD. As you guys can see, we still have this arrow painting. If this arrow paints, I wouldn't take it at all. But we do have a 2-day pullback. Come on. And then you would have done this. keep in mind that a 1 hour time frame has a 35 pip stop loss. Now, if you guys, I don't know if some of you guys already know, but we like to keep our stop losses definitely on forex pairs under 30 pips, because when you go above 30 pips, your pair has to move a significant amount of pips in the right direction in order for your trade to hit your take profit. Now, every trade that has the three rules that is technically valid, but if you have to travel a lot of pips, that means that it will take a longer time. That means that yeah, it's just not the nicest way to trade. Try to keep your stop loss below 30 pips, those are the best place. In the cat, we have an alert, but I don't see an arrow. There's no 2-day pullback, so it wouldn't be valid at all. And that's it, guys. Does anyone have any questions for me right now? Yeah, they slap you in the face, use their excuse. Mm-mm. Um, I'm gonna wait for a new arrow to appear, Bruno. I'm not gonna do anything until there's a new arrow. Oh, and the cat is a no trade pair. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, and I'm not waiting to look at the possible. No, I'm not waiting. I'm just gonna wait for a new arrow to appear personally. This is I'm gonna give the word to Jens. But personally, I'm not taking this trade until we have a new arrow and a new setup. Because I really don't like the way this went. Oh, I think. Okay, I really don't like the way this went. All right. So amazing, guys. Thanks for having me. I know I look a little bit sleepy, so please forgive me if sometimes you can't understand what I'm saying. But I'm gonna give the word to my brother Jens. Jens is for the people that don't know Jens, and I've probably edified him 100 of times by now. Yeah, yeah, and I'm gonna keep doing it because I also have to practice, guys. Like, practice makes better. So Jens is my personal mentor. I've known him for almost 2 years right now, and he's helped me in everything that I've done regarding trading, regarding building the business and personal development. And he's also just been a genuine friend who's helped me with a lot of things, not only in business but also in my personal life. He's an amazing guy, has 5 years of experience within this business, has 5 years of experience on the charts, and is someone that I personally still really look up to this day. Someone with a lot of knowledge, someone with a big network of people, someone who has a really big heart and would do literally anything for anyone, and always does everything with the right intentions. So, Jens, I'm gonna make you host, I guess. And I'm gonna give the word to you. Drop some fire or some hearts or something in the chat for Mr. Jens van den Broeke.
All right, all right, all right. Can you guys hear me? Put a one in chat if you can hear me. Maxime, thank you for doing the first half of the call. And of course introducing myself. I didn't hear the last like few minutes because you lagged a lot on my end, but maybe that's my connection. So if my connection falls away at any time or it's lagging, just let me know in the chat. And that being said, I'm gonna dive right into it because I don't want to go overtime again because I'm starting to get a name for myself of going overtime. So what do we have? Of course, Maxime talked about basically every play that we are looking at. Let me open up the chat. You guys can see my screen, right? Okay, cool. So we talked about basically every trade, and I agree on everything that Maxime said. I want to add this is something I forgot yesterday as well. NZD CAD is a no trade pair, so that's important. So let's say at some point there is a good play here. Don't trade it. That's also in the journal. And then, of course, the most interesting play we saw is GBP USD. I believe that's the most interesting. The reason why we're not engaging is, of course, the news, as you can see right now. The pullback is pretty significant. It's not, it's a clean pullback. And then the M is also pretty good. Now, with that being said, I think Maxime covered everything regarding that. Yesterday, I dropped a message in the WhatsApp chat, in the foreign exchange chat, about the plays of last week, and maybe that's something I want to go over because I'm curious. Who made some profits last week? Put a one in the chat. Who made some losses last week? Put a two. Like, did you end your week positive or negative? See, a lot of people ended their week negative, and that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy, actually. Because if you look at it, let me share this. If you look at it, yeah, most people let it ride during the news, and that basically blew all the profits. We had big slippage, myself including. Um, but it's funny, and this is just how trading is. This is just not necessarily how trading is, mainly how people are, including myself, right? So I wrote the whole ebook. I didn't pull this out of the sky. I didn't generate this with some AI thing. I really wrote this manually. And the funny thing is, all the rules are here. Look, trade management. News trading. Avoid taking trades within 1 hour before and after a red folder news event. It's there. And then when it's December, it's not the best month. We're impatient, da 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 da. And including myself, and we're like, I'm just gonna put the trade on break even. I'm not gonna pull it out with little profit because I'm not grateful enough for the profit I'm having, or whatever the reason was. And what happens is, instead of being happy and grateful, I'm gonna pull that risk to rewards to the side. So this is the realized risk to rewards and the realized percentage gain. I will put that next to it. So what happens, instead of being happy with your 0.25 risk to reward equaling 0.5% profit, I was like, let's put it break even. The market moved so fast, I still lost 4%. Now, losing 4% last week, that was not very, very good, right? So that's the reason why, and that's the lesson that I learned personally. That's the lesson that we all learned last week. Is we really got to stick to the plan. We really got to stick to the game plan. Okay, and of course, on the longer run, if in the good market conditions, if you're just like, hey, with news trades, I just open up my take profit, and you know that 7 out of 10 times you'll hit your stop loss, and 3 out of 10 you'll hit a huge profit, and you're happy with that, amazing. That's not what personally I'm here for. I'm here for consistent, profits over time, and not just gambling on where the news is gonna take us, right? Now, something to note is I did not add the AUD USD trade we talked about. We talked about that, so I did not add it in the journal. But that equaled 4% because that was a TP2. So I know a lot of you guys took that, amazing. But you drained that 4% profit with the slippage of the news trades, which should have been break even. I know some of you weren't even on break even. I know people that lost 6% on that trade when they only risked 2. So imagine you put your stop loss. Your stop loss should be your safety, and you put that at 2% loss. The market's going crazy, and you lose 6%. Then you're like, I'm not gonna curse it. We're early in the morning, but it's like, huh? What's happening? And that's why we have these rules set in place. So I didn't count the 4% on AUD. I didn't even include it in this journal because it had a 1 point something 1.5 day pullback. So I didn't include it because I think only half of you probably took it, and then it wasn't really valid since it didn't have 2 days of pullback. So I didn't include AUD USD, but the other 5 trades you can see here, 12th of December. Yeah, that's basically what we did. GBP CHF was a good one. So we had that slippage trade with a loss. We had a break-even trade. Okay, so this was the I believe this was a slippage thing, the slippage trade that we had to pull out. Then we had to break even trade last week, which was just target one hit, then went to break even. That's fine. That can happen. And then we had this one. And this one was so fast, and that was a risky one. And that's why, okay, this was a win, but I counted this as a 0% gain. And I want to make sure that everyone understands why. So we had a news event at 9:30. Okay. We know we have to pull out 60 to 30 minutes before the news. And I know some of you, you like to stretch it. You like to pull out 10 minutes before the news. You like to pull out 20 minutes before the news. You like to, pull out, let's say, 30 minutes before the news. Always do 30 to 60 minutes. Now, the funny thing is the entry of this trade was at 8:30. 1 hour before the news was the entry, and 30 minutes later we hit profit. That's insane. I know a lot of you guys were in this and a lot of you guys took profit. That's why I included it into the journal, but I didn't count the profits percentages since, it was called an hour before the news. So that's something to not really participate in. But if you're active on the charts and you can pull out 30 minutes before the news, that's fine, right? And of course, I added some comments in here. You can read that. Okay. And then, of course, we had another small win where we had to pull out because of the news again. And that's what I was talking about with you know at the office and also on the cost. But I was talking about December being a crazy month with a lot of news, with a lot of movements that are unpredictable because of that news, etc., etc. And that's what you see right here as well. Okay, so either whatever you did, if you didn't pull out with news, that you didn't pull out at 0.95 risk to reward, then you just hit break even. Because the news event itself, it didn't trigger anything. It's just later on that it slowly went to your break even. So there's probably no possibility of any slippage there. And then, of course, we had one more trade where we also had to pull out because it was the end of the week. I personally forgot, to be honest, and I pulled out on Monday. I just woke up, I opened up my broker account, and I was like, oh, damn, how am I still in this trade? So I pulled out in a little profit, which was cool. But yeah, this is basically what we're looking at is pulling out just before the weekend. We're pulling out with minus 0.7%. This equals at the end of the week, if you took if you just followed the rules, you had about 2% profit. Making 2% profit in a week is crazy on itself. And I know we're used to doing 10, 12% a week, but making 2% profit in a week is crazy on itself. Doing that in the worst market conditions that we have throughout the whole year is insane. And I know some of you made close to 10%, including that GBP CHF trade right here and that AUD USD trade that we also talked about. All right. So that's just a recap of last week. And why am I sharing this? Do we hold trades overnight? Bram, you can choose that for yourself. It depends if your trade. So for me personally, before I close off, it depends on the how far am I in that trade? Because at 11 we have the spread hour. So if I'm keeping my trade overnight and it's a trade that you know let's say it's a pair that has big spreads during spread hour, then I'm not interested. Because if my stop loss is 13 pips and I'm about break even in my trade, and then the spread hits and it's a 30 pip or a 35 pip spread, then I'm gonna be kicked out with huge losses. So I don't want that. Now let's say I'm already up 2%, 3%, then or you can pull out or you can just keep it in. It's highly depending on the pair as well, because the different pairs have different spreads. Also during spread hour, it can vary. You know, something like Euro USD is not gonna have the 20 pip spread, but something like a USD or maybe a CHF JPY, something JPY related might have that well as well. You know, so that's the difference. Now anyway, why am I sharing this about last week? I'm sharing this because I know a lot of people are like, December, December, and I feel you. You want to come here and you want to have it as smooth as it can be. You want to have the A plus setups. You want to have the profits. You want to have whatever you want to have, right? Who's here to have that A plus setups? Who's here to have the profits? Just be honest. I'm here to make profits as well. Duh. I'm not just looking at candles for fun. Of course. But what's important to know is that there are only so and that's it's even crazy to say this, but I said this in a message yesterday as well. There are only so much weeks a year where we have the opportunity to boost our learning curve like we are doing right now. You know, in October you didn't learn a lot. You learned 3 steps and you made a lot of money. In November, man, you learn some stuff, a little bit about yourself and da da da. But I know people that over leveraged and they flipped accounts from $20 to thousands. From $100 to $5,000, like crazy stuff that I've seen in only a month. Is that because you're doing the right thing? Probably not. And why do you get away with that? Because you're trading that in the good and the great months. But if you want to win on the long term, then this is what you need, right? And this is also not what you want to hear, this is what you need to hear. But a lot of the times, you're not going to experience what you want to experience. You're going to experience what you need to experience to be able to deserve the things that you want. And that's something that's so key to understand, especially during this month. Be grateful for the market conditions, because if you manage to make profits during these market conditions, we can't make any promises, but just know that the first quarter, the second quarter of the year, and the third as well, in 2025, that's gonna be insane. And not because sci-fi is the best thing out there, not because I'm so full of myself or whatever. No, just because now you are learning to become the person that you have to be to have the results that you really deserve. But you can only deserve them if you're the person that you have to be. So we're blessed to be in this period. We're blessed to be in this learning experience that we have right now. And yeah, mindset is one of the most important things when it comes to that. Okay, so I'm already over time again. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna start changing the schedule. I always say sci-fi only takes 2 hours a week, but with my time management on these calls, it'll probably take you 3 hours a week. So anyway, with that being said, let's be blessed. Let's be grateful for this time of the year. Let's learn as much as possible, because I know every lesson you learn right now is another. Look at it this way. Every lesson you learn right now is another good trade you'll be able to take every single week for the next year. And another good trade every single week is a 4% every week. Okay, so every lesson you learn right now will pay off eventually, because you are building up yourself, and that's at the end of the day what it's all about. So that being said, I'm going to give it back to Maxime to give some music for the outro, and we'll see each other again tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's get it, guys.
Drop something in the chat for Jens. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Even I learned something today. But anyway, guys, I've got something really, really important to say before you guys go. Can you hear the sounds? I don't wanna. I hope so is alright. Let's go, guys.